Once again, you guys voted. Today we're going to find out what the best cavalry units are in Age of Empires 3. And this time I'm showing you the graph of the votes so you can understand better what the allocations were. And as we can see, first ones here, heavy melee cavalry. Cuirassiers dominated with 58.4%. Not surprising at all. Let's take a look why. So they cost 150 food, 150 coin. Very costly, but you get 500 hit points. They cost population of 3, 6.25 speed. Line of sight is 15, resist 20% versus ranged, 30 melee damage. And the big thing with these guys is their area effect is 2. So to put that in perspective, the area effect of the samurai was 1. So you get double that. And they're a cavalry unit, so you get to run around very quickly. High siege damage at 30 as well. Siege range is normal, and the train time is 60 seconds for these guys. But with upgrades, they basically train instantly for France, which is, it's so OP. Let's look at some gameplay clips here. As you'll see them destroy anti-cav. They'll destroy dragoons, no problem, just slaughtering them. This isn't a 4v4. I was playing with India, and our team just spammed cuirassiers, and we didn't really have an answer, unfortunately. My anti-cav was not upgraded enough. And you'll see in this video why these guys are so good. There's just clips of them destroying anti-cav all over the place. But I think one of the big things with these guys and why they're so overpowered is how easy they are to use. They literally beat probably 75 to 80% of the units in the game easily. And the other units, unless you have like war wagons, you have to kind of strategize how you're going to take these guys down. And it's really, it's so hard to deal with. As you can see there, they got cavalry inside their base, just a couple of them, and they'll destroy so many villies, that it's just like, there's not much you can do. But as you'll see here, look at that, dragoons just getting slaughtered by them. I know he's not hitting and running, he's not kiting, but still, they're so good. As you can see there, just spamming them out. Very quick train time. I think one of the things they could have done to counter these guys a little bit is reduce the train, or increase the train time, like the elephants. Because if you think about it, if you can get like instant elephants, and these guys aren't far off from elephants. I mean, elephants are obviously stronger, but kind of have the same idea. I think they would have been balanced a little bit better. But yeah, easily one of the best units in the game, possibly the best unit in the game. I'm gonna have a poll eventually on all the most overpowered units and what you guys think. We'll take some of the best units and go on from there. But yeah, cuirassiers. Definitely the best heavy cav. Not surprised from that vote at all. So let's go into the next one here. We have the light melee cavalry. So I kind of made this category myself. I know it's technically not a legit category, but these are the cavalry units that are considered weaker. Most of them cost 1 population, and I put the Uhlans in there, or the Uhlans. Uhlans. I think it's Uhlans. Someone went off on me for pronouncing it correctly, and it is pronounced Ulan. The H is silent. So my bad. It's going to take me a while to get used to that because I've always pronounced the H. But yeah, they won the vote, 60.9%. Not very surprising. I thought the Cossacks would get a little bit more of a vote, but I'm not really too surprised. They're a great unit. And let's see why here. Let's look at their stats. So 50 food and 100 coin, which is decent. They have 190 hit points, 2 population, 6.75 speed, 12 line of sight. 30% resist versus range, 37 melee damage. So they have very high damage, and some of the downside of that is that their hit points aren't as high as other cavalry like the Hussar. So they kind of trade more damage for hit points, which makes them very effective for raiding, as you'll see in the gameplay clips here in a second. And that's what I use them mostly for. Siege damage is 20, and then train time is 35 seconds. As you'll see in the gameplay clips here, really good at raiding, like, because they have that high damage, especially like, you know, attacking French villagers, they just do a good job getting in there. And because they're free with the Germans, you can get some free raids going on while you're trying to focus on other units, which is also a big perk. I understand we're going just for the specific unit, not really for the perk with the nation, but it is a reason why they're so good in that aspect. But in the mass, they are not the best because they have so many hit points lost compared to like Hussars. They do lack a little bit once the later game shows up, but they do a decent job. They're not the worst, but obviously not as good as Cuirassier or something like that. But they are the light cavalry. That's why they're in the light category for those units. And yeah, I would just keep these guys close to raiding, keep them on raids more often than not, and use them sparingly because And once they do get engaged in the conflict, they do struggle to get out of them alive for the most part. Like, if you have a decent amount of musketeers you're trying to go around, you got to be careful because they could easily get picked off. And even like skirmishers, like if they have a bunch of skirmishers, they could do some decent damage. But as you can see here, raiding both sides of the map in this game. I'll link all these matches in the description. But that is what the Uhlans do best. Uhlans. But yeah, really enjoy these guys. Good perk for Germany to get these guys for free. And I'm not too surprised they took that light category. So next category here we're going to go into is the ranged cavalry. So as you can see here, very tight on the votes. So what I decided to do is pick the top two. I understand that the Reuters are also up there, but I picked the Dragoons over them. I'm also going to do a honorable mentions, I guess you could say. I'll do an individual video on all those units, and I'll put the Reuters in for that for sure. But I picked the Dragoons and the War Wagons, who obviously won. So let's jump into the War Wagons first, and then we'll go into the Dragoons. So these guys cost 150 food, 150 coin, kind of like the Cuirassiers. 50 hit points as well. Not 150. That means very poor. 3 population. So they're kind of like a ranged cavalry equivalent to Cuirassiers, as you can see. Line of sight is 22, which is awesome. Melee damage is 21. And then multipliers are 2 for artillery, 3 for melee cav, and 0.5 for civilians. So they destroy melee cav. You have the regular range damage is 42. So what is that? 3 times 42, it's like 126. That's crazy, crazy multipliers there. And then obviously you can get more multipliers with upgrades and such. 16 range. So decent range. I think they're a little short range compared to the other anti-cav, like light cavalry, but they do a great job. They have so many hit points that they're essentially tanks, and these guys have good siege damage. They have 30 siege damage, so same siege damage as the Cuirassiers, which is a good thing to have. Train time is 60 seconds, and let's jump into some of the clips here. I love these guys. One of my favorite units in the game are the War Wagons. They are kind of like a tank. They take a bunch of hits from several different units. They do decent against musketeers unless they're in melee mode. They could take on all the cavalry, no problem. Skirmishers obviously is going to be their weakness, but if you have a big battle going on and they have a bunch of skirmishers, the War Wagons can take some hits before they go down. So really good perks for them there. I really enjoyed these guys in this gameplay clip, as you're going to see here. This is one of my best comebacks in Age of Empires. Such a good video. If you have not watched this match, I highly recommend it. The comeback is insane. Like, my teammate has town center down, and we were playing against French and Ottomans, so they had Cuirassiers and obelisk guns coming in our base. I just held it down until my teammate could get recovered, and then I'm not even going to spoil what's going to happen next, but all I'm going to say is revolution and win, and you guys can watch the rest of the video. It's so good, but you'll see some of the push here that we do. It's so exciting. But as you can see here, they're doing a decent job versus Musks. They have the hit points to stand up against them. Unless the opponent puts them in the melee mode, they'll do okay. They won't suffer too badly. But my favorite thing about these guys is that they can just keep the line so well. Sometimes, especially later ages, there are just battle lines that you're just spamming units. And these guys stay in the battle for so long that you can adjust accordingly what you need to, instead of just continually pushing out units. And that's one of my favorite things about them, is that they stay in there, they get the job done. They're decent versus everything for the most part, except skirmishers. And yeah, the only thing I really don't like about them is that they're kind of slow, but you do have to take some penalties against them. As you see, they're fighting against dragoons and janissaries, and also taking down the factories, which is doing awesome. Like, it's just a multifunctional unit, and that's what I really enjoy. So I highly recommend the War Wagons. I'm glad they won. They're my personal favorite light cavalry, or light anti-cav, whatever you want to say. And yeah, let's go into the next one here. So we have the Dragoon, which was voted second. And for this one, I'm going to focus on the Portuguese Dragoons because they have the extra range. I know the regular Dragoons are pretty decent as well, but we're going to focus on the Portuguese ones. So these cost 90 food, 90 coin, and have 200 hit points, 2 population, 7.25 speed, so they're very quick. 15 line of sight, and then 30% resist first range, 11 melee damage. So you don't really want to put these guys in melee unless maybe you're attacking villies, because they have a 0.5 multiplier versus the villies, 2.0 against artillery, and 3.0 versus melee cav. So same as the war wagons. 12 range, but 18 range with Portugal. And then siege damage is 9, so not the best at siege, unlike the war wagons. Train time is 38 seconds. So let's look into some of these gameplay clips here. So I realized that I do not have a video on Portuguese dragoons, or the Genites, and their max capability. So here's a match where we're losing, and I was just trying to pump up dragoons at the end. But the opponent there does have them, and they're going to wreck me, especially with that extra range. These guys are so powerful. They take on most units except skirmishers, but they do a decent job for skirmishers as well. Well, if you can kite these guys, which is like the technical term for hitting and running, then you can be very effective. Obviously, you need some decent internet connection for that to be super effective. But hitting and running is a way to go with these guys. They're quick enough to get away from any attacks, and once you have that extra range, many units struggle to fight off these guys. And yeah, they're a great counter to have. They do really good versus rifle riders as well against the Sioux. And just overall, they do a very great job. So I will get some Portuguese gameplay out, especially obviously when we do the nation review with them. I'll get some gameplay out there, but I'll try maybe get some gameplay out in between then, like I've done with the India video previously. I'll always try to do that for you guys, so I will try to do that. We'll just go on to the next set here. So we have finally the extra slot, and this was going to be interesting. I wasn't sure who was going to get it. I knew the Lancers were going to be up there. They're a great unit to have, especially with Unction. I was thinking Hussars might be up there, or maybe the Lancer, Mahout Lancer Elephants. But the unit that won was the Oprichnik, and this is not a surprise at all. Let's check these guys out. 90 food and 60 coin for one of the most overpowered boxes you can get in this game, and we'll see them in action here in a second. Hit points 250, 2 population, 6.75 speed, line of sight is 15, 20% resist first range. Melee damage is 20, but it's the multipliers that make these guys so good, and the siege damage. So the multipliers is 3.0 versus villies, which is insane. These guys slaughter villies for breakfast, and they 2.0 versus siege damage, so they're good against artillery as well. But the big thing here, 75 siege damage. So these guys are literally made to get through those walls, get in the back of a base, and just knock out someone's economy. And that's what these guys do so well. When you see that box of Oprichniks coming around your corner, you just cringe and cry on the inside, because you know it's going to be a struggle. Unless maybe you have war wagons or dragoons or reuters, you're going to struggle getting rid of these guys. The musketeers are not quick enough, and we'll see that here in a second in this gameplay clip. Siege range is 6, and normal time there for rate of fire. Train time is 40 seconds. And let's look at this gameplay clip. So this is from a match where 2 people left, 1 on each team, and I was carrying this guy who was like kind of new to online. And as you can see there's the box, and we're sending it around. I'm holding it off there, got some musketeers, and I'm just going around. There's these 2 guys. So I'm just running around. Their whole army's back there. They're trying to catch up, and here comes the cav box. And if you guys don't know how to do this, basically what you do is you put your guys all on defense mode. So you need to double-click your Oprichniks and put them on the defense mode with the shield. And to get that up, you have to go in the options and put it on like extra stats or something. There's a click there's a check mark that you can do to make that screen come up. And then once that's up, you put them in the defense mode. As you see, there's a little shield with the check mark on it on the bottom right. And then you need to get 1 cavalry archer and put him on the shield mode as well. You got to do it individually for both of them. You can't click and drag and do them all at the same time. And then click and drag and take your box. And then all the Oprichniks will think that they need to guard the 1 cavalry archer. So they get super tight together, which I don't understand from a development standpoint how they didn't see this and how they don't patch it. You can do this with the Crusaders as well. You can do this basically with any cavalry unit. That's melee. Especially with the Sioux War Dogs as well. Those are so good. But yeah, I was really surprised that this is still in the game, but it's so effective. I really recommend using it. And as you can see in these gameplay clips, I got into the base and I didn't even know what to do, because I was just so in for the free. So I take out a couple factories, and I was trying to take down some of the plantations. so that they could just not have the economy before I took down the villagers, but it was taking too long, so we got some villagers there. But you're gonna get a second wave here of me coming in with some more Oprichniks, and they're just so OP, it's crazy. Honestly, it'll look like ants coming into a village or something, because it is, as soon as they get in, you just send them out to the various mills and plantations. As you see here, watch, the wall's gonna go down one hit, and then bam, we're in, and I'm just gonna spread these guys out to each plantation. I'm not going to make the mistake this time of trying to take down the plantation because they have too many hit points, but look at that. Just toss them out there, tossing some out over here, just going to send some down, and then the villagers are just done for. Can easily take out factories and town centers, no problem, and really just love using those guys. If you haven't done it yet, I highly suggest trying it, and maybe with the Sioux as well. So this is basically going to wrap up the end of the video. So the next one is going to be the artillery units. That's what we're going to vote for. I'm really interested to see the results in this because there are a lot of good artillery units in the game. If you guys haven't seen my comments, I'm going to do a mercenaries video along with like special units. So I know a lot of you guys have been voting for like Spahi and war dogs and or not war dogs, dog soldiers and like the special units that you can train, maybe the Hamatsu samurai. But those guys are all going to be a separate video. We'll vote for those because those are more of a special, stronger, beefed up unit than the ones that come out of the barracks or the stable. So this is going to be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, check out the fundraiser. It's going amazing. We're almost at the 450 goal. We're getting there. We're getting so close. And I have like a month left to do it. So every dollar helps. I'm so thankful for you guys' support. So please, other than that, vote for your next artillery units that you think are the most overpowered, the best units in the game. And I'll see you guys in the next video.